Good morning, everybody. It's Ramona. Welcome back to another cook-along. Today we are going to make some not oatmeal, rosemary olive bread. I love making bread. I love the smell of yeast. I love kneading it. And then there's always the bonus at the end where you get to eat it. So I'm going to not eat a lot of it. I'm going to take most of it to work. But I just felt like making bread. I don't know why. So the recipe is on Pinterest and it's right there, olive rosemary bread, and I will link it down below. So obviously we need flour, we need olives and rosemary, we need some yeast, olive oil, sugar to feed the yeast, and we will get started. So the first thing we will do is get the yeast going. So in a bowl, combine yeast, and it says 2 packages. I don't have packages, I have a jar. This is a new jar because last month, if you saw, I made focaccia. It cracked. It didn't turn out right like it did before. So I looked at the expiration date of the yeast and it was expired. So this is a brand spanking new jar. You just heard it go schlup. Okay. So we're going to go with 2 teaspoons of yeast. I think that's probably, having made bread before, that should be a decent amount of yeast. So we're going to put 2 teaspoons of yeast in here, 1 tablespoon sugar, and again, sugar is what feeds the yeast. The yeast is right now in a dormant state, so we're going to add warm water and sugar, and that will bring it back to life, so to speak. And, okay, let me just read my recipe here. In small bowl, yeast, sugar, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and half a cup of warm water. So let me just get the water going here for a second. So yeah, so as the yeast blooms and comes back to life, so to speak, it emits gases, and those gases are what makes the bread rise. Warm water, and you don't want your water too hot because that will kill the yeast. All right, so half a cup of warm water and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Here, this is my direct from Italy olive oil, which is almost gone. It's my last bottle, and luckily I'm going back in December. I probably won't bring back as much as I did last time, but we all got sucked in at the olive oil tasting, and you know how that goes when you get sucked into things. I'm easily sucked in, especially when it comes to food. All right, so there is our 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Let's stand until the yeast mixture foams about 5 minutes. So I'm just going to give this a little mix up here. And we will set that to the side. In the meantime, while we're waiting for that, Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes. We will get our olives and rosemary chopped. So it calls for 2 tablespoons of fresh rosemary chopped. So, I love the smell of rosemary. Whew. My favorite herb, I'm pretty sure. And, so good. I can just smell it. Yum, 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 yum. Rosemary's really good with lamb. Make a paste of some chopped rosemary, some chopped garlic, and some olive oil, and smear it all over your lamb chops. And just let them set for a little while, kind of let them marinate in that, and then grill them, and oh boy, you will have some handy dandy lamb chops. Okay, what am I looking for here? 2 tablespoons. I don't think this is 2 tablespoons. But we'll start with this, and I have this little herb chopper that I got from Bed Bath & Beyond, which makes quick work of it. Try not to get too many of the stems in there. Get those out. had good knife skills, I could do this with a knife, but I'll leave that to the pros. Get some woody pieces there. It says finely chopped. I don't know what their definition of finely chopped is, but that's a good start right there. And no, I don't think that is 2 tablespoons. It's probably 1 and a bit. Okay, so 1 more batch. Probably the rest of what is there I will chop up as well. Yes, so we are going back to Rome in December, same crew. This time, or let me say last time, we went to Florence, a short amount of time in Naples. We hired a driver, we'll hire the same driver again this time, who took us down the coast to Sorrento, Positano, Amalfi. Fabulous, oh my God. And that's where we went to the olive oil factory and the tasting. This time, and then we also, obviously did the, Rome things. There's just so much to do in Rome. You can't do it all in one trip. One of the people I'm going with, her and her boyfriend, have been 20 times. And there's just so much to do because Rome is a good also central point if you want to just go to other places and make Rome your home bases, which is what we do. So this time we're going to Pompeii, possibly Venice, and just hanging out in Rome, doing some more things that we didn't get to do the first time. I mean, if you love architecture, I mean, you could, that's it. There's just, the architecture there is just amazing, truly, truly amazing. So many, churches to see, and the Vatican Museum. I mean, Rome is just an incredible, incredible place. I just love it so much. I definitely see myself going back for extended periods of time when I retire, like maybe, a month in the fall, a month in the spring, something like that. I just absolutely love Rome. Okay, so there we have approximately 2 tablespoons of rosemary. Then we need, what happened to my, I hate that, bringing ads. How do I get back there? Okay, there we go. 1 cup of Kalamata olives, or whatever olives I guess you want. This one says Kalamata or green, but I love Kalamata olives. And I'm so tempted to taste one of those, you guys, but today is my first day doing intermittent fasting. I'm going to talk about it after maybe like a week or so and let you know how I'm doing. So I'm doing the 18-6 method, and so I'm fasting between 8 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. You can have water only, and then my eating times are between 12 noon and 8 p.m. again. So lots of reasons to do it, which I will talk about in an upcoming video, and also I will link... Well, lots of people are talking about it, and I first heard about intermittent fasting from Melanie, Alexa, stop. Now that does not look foamy. Well, it's a little bit foamy. I've never added olive oil in with yeast before, so that's a little bit different looking. Usually it's much more foamy. Can you see? It's really not. So I'm still chatting anyway, so we're just going to let that guy go. So anyway, yeah, so originally, I don't know, way back when, I heard Melanie talking about it, and it's like, oh, that's interesting, but it's really getting more interesting to me now. I see a lot more people talking about it, and tons and tons of YouTube videos and information about intermittent fasting. Wait, now there's got to be an easier way to do this. I'm like so tempted to eat one of those yummy Kalamata olives. Okay. But I'm not going to because I'm pretty motivated right now. I have a little mini chopper thing, right? Where's my little chopper? There it is. Yeah, here we go. This is going to be better. So anyway, yeah, there's lots of information out on the web about intermittent fasting. And I also found a really fabulous, oh my God, tons and tons of information about intermittent fasting. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I will link that when I do my intermittent fasting video. And fingers crossed, I can maintain some form of self-discipline, which is not always easy. Okay, so let's give these a little chop and see what's going on with that yeast there. I don't know what's going on with the yeast, but whatever. Okay, I don't want to overdo it. Maybe another couple chops, because some of them... Okay, another couple pulls. Still, this guy here didn't chop, and this guy here didn't chop. Oops. And this one here didn't chop, but most of the others did. I'm happy with the rest of it. Oh my gosh, I love Calamata olives. The smell coming out of here right now is just divine. This with the rosemary. Do you know what else would be good in here? I wonder if I have any in the fridge. I usually do, although I think I used the rest of it last week. Would be some garlic. Would be really good in here too. I don't want to... Okay, we'll just do it this way as the recipe says. Okay, let me just get my fingers in there. Stop being a pansy. Just get in there. All right. Let me chop up these last little bit. And it calls for, oh yeah, 1 cup. Yeah, that's about a cup. We're good. Okay. And that, I just got off like the olive bar at Randall's, the grocery store here in Texas. I could have went to the market, the Middle Eastern market, but if I went there, I would come back with more than just olives. So that's what we did. All right. This one here is kind of chunky too. And this one here, could use a little chop. This one here. That's the thing about this little thing. I mean, it does a good job if you want to chop something really fine, but if you want something in the middle, it has a hard time, you know, getting it all, you know, uniform in size. But that was the shortcut I decided to take. All right, we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. All right. Okay. Okay, so we have all our ingredients, I do believe. So let's get to baking this bread. So got my recipe over here. Wait now. Make it. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, in a large bowl with 1 spoon, mix your olives, rosemary, salt, and 4 cups of flour. I'm going to make this the way that I traditionally make bread, which is get the dough going first and add like the olives and rosemary in a few more minutes. So let's get this on the, it's starting to get a little more foamy now. So I guess we'll be okay. We're going to move over to the stand mixer. And let's see. So we need sugar, olive oil, get all that. Did that. 2 teaspoons of flour, 5 cups of bread flour. Oh, and 1 cup of warm water. I knew there needed to be water in there somewhere. So, yeah, let's see, 5 cups of bread flour. And again, and you know what? I don't have bread flour. I realized after I got home and I was reading the recipe, just regular flour. So we're going to just pray to the bread gods that it works. Oh, sorry. So sorry. slow as it goes. How come I can do this any other day? Oh, maybe because I move it over here. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to put the dough hook on. And of course, you could do this by hand, just like our grandmothers did, and my mother does, and all that stuff. Okay, and I need the recipe because we need to know, okay, 5 cups of flour. And I'll intersperse, I guess, the water in there and 2 tablespoons of salt, which I'm just going to do this. 1, 2. Okay, here we go. 5 cups of flour. I hope I have 5 cups of flour. We'll start with 2. And let her go. Just start out kind of slow. Because you don't want that flour to go all over the place. Gotta put some of that warm water in. Just put it all. 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's see what happens. I'll add the rest of the water. Yeah, so I haven't eaten anything since last night at 8 p.m. Actually, probably around 7 p.m. And I feel okay. I've been like drinking water all day long. You are allowed to drink water. Most of the information that I've been reading says only water. You can't break your fast with anything. You know, you shouldn't be drinking black coffee or tea. Because anything that you put in your stomach that stimulates your GI activity is going to take away from the fasting portion of this. Okay, this needs a tad more water. It's really working hard. Because eventually you want it to be very smooth. Plus, we still have to add the rosemary and the olives as well. So I'm still going to add a little more water. Okay, let's get the rosemary and olives in there. So anyway, I'm following what the majority of people say. Do not have black tea, black coffee, nothing. And there's lots of good information. As I said, when I do the video, I'm going to link this guy's information. He's super duper great. And a physician, lots of information out there. Okay. I think I need a little more flour now. Dang it. That's what happens when you don't follow the directions. So I'm just trying to reset and kind of refocus. I don't want to, I'm going to make a video of it, so I don't want to get too in depth about it, but anyway. Okay. Look, there's a little smidgen of olive there, but I can't use that. Nothing but water. Okay, this is sounding a little smushy. Okay, let's see. So we're going to knead it in just a few minutes. Oh, it does say to add more flour while kneading. Okay, I'm going to take it out. counter. So let me get rid of all of this. This can go in the garbage. Okay, it's clean. And this is where you really get your hands into bread making. So I'm putting some flour down. And we shall need. And my spatula is in the dishwasher, so we'll use this. And we'll bring you guys back. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, still, it can, I guess all the olives are making it sound kind of smushy, but we're gonna knead it a few times and see what happens. And put some more flour here. Okay, I might have added too many olives. So yeah, just fold and turn and fold and turn and fold and turn and fold and turn. And it's starting to turn like bread dough. This is the first time making this, so I have no idea if it's going to turn out. I have no idea if you're actually going to see this video. I guess even if it's a flop, I'll show you that it was a flop and maybe I can figure out, or maybe somebody else help me can figure out what I did wrong with. Okay, so now it's turning more bread-like. It's getting kind of a nice baby's bum over there. Definitely, I think I have too many olives in here, but it was about a cup that I put in, don't you think? Don't you think? Can you imagine, you know, our grandmothers, I know mine did, probably many people did, made bread every day of their life to feed their families without the assistance of hand mixers and stand mixers and fancy dancy gadgets. Okay, so, all right, we're gonna go with that. So now we have to let it rest, and it's supposedly going to rise. And I'm going to put it in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil in it so it doesn't stick. I'm going to cover it with a towel, and I'm going to let it rest for 1 hour. So I will be back in 1 hour, and we'll see how things are going. So I will see you then. Bye. Okay, we're back. This has risen 1 hour. I had a tea towel over it, and it rested in the laundry room because I had the dryer going, so I thought that would be a good place to let it rise. So we have to punch it down. It says to cut it in half. It's obviously, I guess, going to make 2 loaves, and then we're going to let it rise for another hour. And I'm just going to put a little flour down. I don't know how much I need yet, but we'll start with that. So we're just going to turn this out. It's a very heavy, dense dough that I'm not really used to. It's very, you know, I guess all the olives and whatnot. It's very dense. So we're just gonna punch it down, give it a few turns. It's feeling more like dough now than it did at first. So we're just gonna give it a few turns like that. You can hear the air bubbles coming out when you do this. I am very excited to try this. Okay, so then it says to cut it in half. And if I was very anal, I would weigh it, but as I get older, I'm less concerned with things like that. with many things I'm less concerned with as I get older. Okay. So we're going to put a little more flour down, and I have a cookie sheet here with some parchment paper on it. And we're just going to give it a couple of turns, make it into a nice round loaf. And I can still hear some air bubbles coming out. Okay. That looks good. And then I will read the recipe to you because there's a little glitch in the recipe that we're going to have to fake it till you make it. Yeah, I would not add as many olives next time. But anyway, first time for everything. It's always a learning experience. All right. So there are 2 loaves. They're about the same size, more or less. Okay, so let's hear what the recipe then says. It says, whoops. I don't want to put my iPad down there. So it says, all right, punch down dough, turn into floured surface, blah, blah, blah. Shape each loaf into ovals. I didn't. Place on cookie sheet about 3 inches apart. I hope that's enough room. Maybe I should do 2 separate cookie sheets. And cover and let rise in a warm place until doubled, about 1 hour. Okay, check, check, check. Preheat oven to 400 degrees, which I will do about 15 minutes before the 1 hour is up. So in about 45 minutes, I'm going to turn the oven on to 400 degrees. And when they're ready to go in the oven, I'm going to brush with a little olive oil and with a sharp knife, cut diagonal slashes across each loaf. Okay. Okay, and that's it. Doesn't tell me how long to bake it. So I'm going to look at a few other recipes, probably. If I can recall, I think the focaccia bakes for like 20 or 30 minutes. So I'll probably start with like 20 minutes or so and see if it looks done. It should be nice and brown. And when you turn it over on the bottom and tap it, it should be very hollow sounding. However, this is a bit of a denser loaf, so I'm not even sure if that applies in this case or not. I'm just kind of winging it. So I will be back in an hour. And hopefully we will have some olive bread sometime today. So I will see you later. Bye. Okay, we're back. So the dough has risen for another hour. 20 minutes ago, I turned the oven on to 400 degrees to preheat. So the instructions are to brush it with olive oil and then make some slits in the top. So we will do that. And then I was also looking at some other recipes for olive bread as well. I definitely want to find out olive bread so that I can compare. Alexa, stop. Compare apples to apples. So we're going to bake it for about 30 minutes. So they have risen and they're definitely double in size and they definitely look good. Alexa, stop. Sometimes she goes wacky. Okay. So, oh, it smells so good. I'm so excited. I don't think it's good to be this excited over bread dough, right? Oh, I have to be very gentle. Look, I just poked a hole in it. Okay. Actually, I'm thinking I was going to take one to work, but I'm going to put it in the freezer because my sister Joanne is coming again in August. So we will break it out with some wine or something when she comes, I think. Yes, we will. Okay. So then it says to cut it. I really hate to do that. Like, what if I cut it and it deflates? What should I do? What should I do? Okay, well. That's what it says to do, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll do it with one of them. I don't know how deep to go either. I've never cut bread before like this. like that. Oh, heck, I'll do them both. In for a dollar, in for a pound, or whatever the saying goes. In for a penny, in for a pound. That's how the saying goes. All right, so I'm going to put them in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. And then hopefully they will be done. They should be nice and golden brown. Hopefully they will be like a hollow sound on the bottom. Then I will pull them out and I will let them cool a bit. And then I will bring you back and we will have a taste test. All things hopefully going my way. So off we're gonna go to the oven and I will see you in about 45 minutes or so. Bye. Okay, everybody, we are back. So the loaves are out. They went in originally for 20 minutes. I checked them after 20. They were a light golden brown on top, but they were still pretty light on the bottom. So I put them back in for another 5 minutes. So they baked for 25 and they've been cooling for 15. And we're going to cut into one and see how it is. They're still a little bit warm. They're kind of a little bit crusty, not too bad. I think I should have left them another 5 minutes. This is still a little bit light, I think. I don't know. Let's just cut in here and see what we get. Okay. Smells good. I think it's good. It might have, another couple of minutes might have been okay. It's a little bit soft there on the bottom. Yeah, maybe 5 more minutes would do it. So probably 30 minutes, just like I thought 30 minutes we should have done. So I have a little bit of leftover olive oil here. Let me just test it on its own first. Good. Definitely can taste the rosemary. And I got a bite of olive in there as well. It is a denser bread than I'm used to making. The olives made it a little bit heavy, but still it's very soft on the inside. It's not too chewy. Very good. This turned out pretty good. So I will link the recipe down below. I would say if your oven is right on 400, I would say leave it in for 30 minutes and then look at it. It should be nice, kind of golden brown like this, but it also should be more golden brown on the bottom as well. This is a little bit light, and I think that's why just at the very, very end, it's not raw by any means, it's not raw, but it could just go for another couple of minutes. So I'm pleased with my first foray into olive bread. So I hope you try it. Let me know how it works out. I hope everybody has a great day. I will see you soon. Bye.